What's up, YouTube people and home gym people? I wanted to do a quick, I guess, 4 to 6 week review on my Fringe Dane 2.0. I bought it during the 4th of July sale, put it together, and I've been using it since then. It took about 2 weeks to get here, give or take. Let me kind of just go through how I've got it set up. It may help some of you guys that are ordering these, or if you're thinking about ordering one. I am very, very impressed by this piece of equipment. The fit and the finish is very good on it. The assembly was very easy. It probably took me, I'd say, 4 hours putting it together. I really didn't have any hiccups. There was a couple of things that I bolted something together and then had to quickly undo it because I realized that maybe I hadn't done it in the right sequence, but nothing. I followed the video. The video was good. Definitely go to Harbor Freight and buy a whatever it is. It's a big socket and an adjustable wrench. I also used a cordless impact gun. And then I snugged up the bolts by hand when I was all done. But I couldn't imagine putting all these bolts in, with the crappy little wrench they give you. So you spent this much money on the rack. Go buy the socket on Amazon or whatever it is. Anyway, let's go take a look at this here. So when I had this, this is just like an Amazon multi-bench that I'm using for now. It's adequate. I don't lift that much weight. I'm pretty small. So for now, this bench I had, it was like $200. It's functional. So that's what I'm using for a bench with this. I'm just gonna drag it out of the way. These are pretty cool. If you have a 3D printer, those are 3D printed squat blocks. They're fantastic. Didn't cost me anything. As far as how I set this up, I've got the toaster plate at the bottom, and then I've got the shelf at the middle, and it is at position, I guess, between 10 and 11. I'll tell you about that later. And then I have the crossbar at between 17 and 18, which is pretty cool because it holds the uprights right under the sign really nicely. I do have the multi-grip pull-up bar, which is pretty cool. The bar they give you is just a standard bar. It's okay. I used it for a couple of weeks before that came in on back order. But the multi-grip bar, I think, is worth it. I did upgrade to the stainless steel. I was hemming and hawing about the $200, but I could tell you that these trolleys move just as smooth as anything I've ever seen at a commercial gym. They're fantastic, very high quality. Even the pulleys, I don't know what's on here. Yeah, I've just got one plate, there's no pin, but the pulleys are butter. It's like pulling on glass. I'm very impressed with the fit and finish on this. One thing I will tell you, when you're putting this together, I neglected to tighten the stopper nut here and the stopper nut here. I just kind of was making adjustments to the cable tension and I forgot. And then a couple of days after using it, I was pulling down and the cable let go. It came out. No harm, no foul. I didn't have a ton of weight on it, but kind of shocked me. The other thing they don't really tell you about in any of the instructions is adjusting the tension on the cables here. There's a clip here that gives you some kind of gross adjustment of the cable length, depending on your exact setup. But what you'll find is you have to mess around with the thread depth here so that you can just push the pin in easy, right? Because what will end up happening is that if you have any attachments on here, it'll basically pull down on this and the pins will be hard to put in. So like if I leave my rope on here, it's pretty light. It really doesn't affect it. But if I leave something heavier on there, I will have to kind of push down on the plates as I put the pin in, just to offset the counterweight of there. Again, not a big deal. They don't really talk about anything about adjusting these cables, but you'll see you do have to adjust the threads either here or both just to get the slop out of the system. Very, very simple, but worth noting. I definitely like having the crossbar right at kind of chest level. It makes it really convenient to just kind of pull these pins and pop the safeties in and out. I also keep the J-hooks here. The build quality on all of this stuff is very, very good. I cannot complain. I mean, the actuation of these pins is like butter. It's really good. It's just as good, if not better, than a lot of the equipment that was at my expensive gym I had been going to. What else? I bought the vertical barbell holder here, and I have it kind of on the back side of the rack there. It maybe sticks up if you're tight on space. You do need a lot of space to lift it up and out of that. So if you're ceiling challenged, that's something to consider. I have very high ceilings in my basement here. So I did that. I'm contemplating maybe moving it, but it's kind of got limited options as to how you can move it. But I didn't want to put it on the wall in the house, so I like that. So my shelf, this is a long story. When I ordered the Dane 2.0, the machine itself was on a very slight back order, but the accessories, the multi-grip bar, the shelf, and the toaster rack were all separate. So I had received my Dane and I put the whole thing together, but I was missing the toaster plate and the holder and the shelf and the pull down bar. I figured, how hard could it be? And you know, they don't really give you much guidance when you're putting this together as far as how much clearance that you need. So when I assembled this and was building it, I took a tape measure to make sure that, you know, I was parallel to the baseboard here and here, but I really wasn't sure like where any of these racks were going to mount because they weren't clear about it. I tried to look it up online. There wasn't any information. So I didn't want to wait. So I put this whole thing together and I was using it. I got the shelf. I was super excited because I really wanted to put it in. And lo and behold, if you install the shelf the way it's installed on the Dane 1.0, this is basically a Dane 1.0 shelf that they're just selling to stick on the Dane 2.0. They don't mention that. The problem is that if you mount this shelf on a Dane 2.0, the whole shelf is going to basically extend from that hole back. So it's over a foot. So you need to push the whole machine at least a foot forward into your room to make the shelf fit. They don't talk about that. I was not in a position to move this rack to put the shelf in, and I screwed around with it for a couple of nights. I did email Fringe. They were very helpful, and they're like, yeah, basically, like you have to flip the shelf around, yada, yada, yada. Well, I can't move the rack. I'm not taking the rack apart to move it. It wasn't going to happen. So the shelf's like $165. I wasn't going to throw it away. So what I ended up doing, it's not elegant, but it worked, is I just basically drilled new holes in it. I was able to drill one big hole at the top on each side, and then I just put a smaller hole because that's really just a positioning hole. It was a pain using step bits, drilling through that steel. I'm a contractor, and it was just, it took me, a couple of nights I would go out in the garage in the heat and drill holes with cutting oil with a step bit for 30 minutes at a time before I was drenched in sweat. I eventually got it. It works okay. I mean, it works great now that it's in, but you can see, I mean, man, it is essentially, you can't really tell, but I would say it's less than 1/8 of an inch away from the wall. So buyer beware, if you're getting that shelf, you got to move the rack out. One of the other things is I did a lot of research. I did not buy the Fringe lat pull down seat because it was really rickety. I forked over the money to buy the rep bench. I will say this rep bench is everything that they advertise it to be. It is solid as a rock. It's very adjustable. It's fantastic. I highly recommend it. It's worth the money. I do use the landmine attachment. I never did landmines at the gym when I went to a gym. Now that I have it, it's become kind of one of my favorite things. I do like the landmine attachment. I never use the set screw. I should probably just throw that out. You don't need it. What else? Oh, this is cool. The rowing, the footrest here, I store it. It fits nicely behind everything. That's where I store it. But there's a video that I saw online. There's a cheat where you don't have to sit on the floor to use the row. Essentially what you do is you put one of the safeties about wherever your bench is. I think mine is like about here. You put a safety here and then you attach the footrest to the safety out here and then you sit on your bench. So you're basically, it's like a rowing bench. And then you just move the trolley on top of the safety. Look it up. It's fantastic. That's how I always do the rows. The other thing that people hem and haw about is, oh, can I get a full stretch? So that's me. I'm 5'10", okay? I don't know, I'd say I'm like the most average human being you've ever seen as far as specs, clothes. When I ride a motorcycle, I'm the guy they make a motorcycle to fit. So I'm very average, 5'10". My shirt sleeves are like 32-inch shirt sleeves. With the rep bench at the lowest position that you can get, which is, basically way down there before you hit the other bolt, I can get a full stretch with that attachment. The one thing I did do is I don't use the big hooks. I only should show this one. I use these hooks. Somebody mentioned these, and these are cheap on Amazon, but they're swivel hooks. And what ends up happening is it really helps to avoid when you clip in here, it helps the cables from getting twisted on the machine. So very good investment there. They're on Amazon. But yeah, with that hook being a little shorter, again, I can get a full stretch. I know Fringe is coming out with that attachment that's gonna bring the pivot point on the trolley higher. They did give me a $50 credit for my aggravation with the shelf, which was very nice of them. So I'm probably gonna use that credit to buy the extension when it comes out, just to have it. I don't need it, but I think it would be a nice to have. But overall, again, I'm 6 weeks into this. I really am happy with the investment. Oh, also too, I bought their bumper plates. They're nice. I don't really have anything to compare them to. I mean, it's weights, but they're very nice. The barbell is very nice. The bearings are really smooth on it. Again, I don't feel like this is Chinese quality at all, even though it's made in China. They did a very good job on this. There's no rattling. There's no rickety. Everything is smooth. Yeah, so would I buy one of these again? I would. I was kind of up in the air about spending big money on a Rogue or maybe like an Aries, but I don't know how you could honestly, for the money, especially I got 15% off, I think. I don't think I could get any better than this. I mean, it does everything that I would want to do. The more I use it, the more kind of cool things I'm figuring out with it. Like even, I keep my TRX strap up there, which is a great spot to keep it. I did buy these weights, these stack weights. These are 2.5s. I bought them on Amazon. They were expensive for what they were, but they do work really well. I would not recommend putting this on. It has no value. It just is the pins in the way. Just put the pin someplace else. Somebody asked me that I was talking to if you need mag pins. I don't need them for anything. I actually, the rep seat came with one. I think that's the second time I've ever touched it. I don't even bother with it. Everything here is, like I said, very high quality. I have 3D printed some doodads. Like this is pretty cool. This is a 3D printed phone holder that I move around when I'm when I'm working out, depending on what I'm doing. I actually 3D printed. These are pretty cool too. That's a 3D printed plate holder. I'm gonna drop it. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. I wouldn't put anything heavier than that on it, but it's great. That is wall control stuff. I just bought 1 or 2 boards from Amazon and I think 2 starter pack, two hooks, starter hook packs. And then I have a 3D printer, so that's kind of my go-to thing. So I've 3D printed a bunch of different hooks here too, just because I can print them on demand. But net, would I buy one again? Absolutely. Should you buy one? That's up to you, but I really like mine. Thank you for watching.